Lulu.
It's the same, just with a hat on.
That's right.
Exactly the same.
You can see how that misclick happens.
Yeah, sure.
Easy peasy. All right, Gangplank still on the board, as I should say on the bench.
So far, we are looking at very serious bans.
Yeah.
No Mordekaiser, sadly.
Super serial.
We are keeping it very standard so far. Will this be the first game where TPQ gets a proper jungle pick? It looks like it with the bans so far.
Look good.
Origin, he got to play Gragas.
Yeah, for him, a proper jungle pick. He had that ulti at the tower,
This
you know.
is the only... His Rek'Sai is open.
Okay,
he's got Rek'Sai.
going. He get Rek'Sai or Elise for TPQ.
Or Elise, that's true.
First pick.
Boom.
There we go.
Got it. Now you just put a lot of pressure on him. Because if he doesn't... Coming back to you, Deficio. He doesn't do well.
Sure.
Like TBQ.
I take all the blame.
Okay.
I will take all the blame.
Perfect. You heard it, Reddit.
TBQ has not performed due to the pressure Deficio,
Yes.
European LCS caster, has put on the LPL jungler.
Shot of the Danes and then Dyrus, as Dyrus and Santorin are the first two to pick here. I mean, the Nidalee mechanics are there for Santorin, a very high mechanical player. Once it gets into the game and the structure of the game has already kind of been laid out, he doesn't get a chance to make all those plays. They are going to, however, go back to Gragas and a Jinx here, while Turtle's going to try to steal some dragons.
So I did this in the last game. I'm going to do it again. This is a Tahm Kench game. Jinx has been locked in.
Do it.
Tahm Kench is going to go next to her
Great combo.
against Elise, and nobody's ever going to die.
Spit
Well,
on the chompers.
The thing is, Tahm Kench was a bit of a surprise pick here at Worlds. I wonder how many
No, they're going to pick it away.
actually prepared the Kench. And how much
Everyone
they want to
did
pick it away.
now. After that, a few more
Yeah,
days,
it's true.
everyone tried to spam it. Problem is, it scrims. Only one team gets to play it. Maybe you even ban it away. So we have to see who was lucky enough. And LGD, they know exactly
There
what
it
was
is.
going on. They knew the Kench was coming. So they had to steal it away.
They left it up,
There it is.
and now he's going to play Ezreal.
Bada bing.
That's exactly what's going to happen. I do have to say, though, like, even though both these teams are eliminated from Worlds, and this will be their last game, coming into the day, both teams were still statistically possible of advancing from the groups. And with playing 3 different teams on the same day, they would have already prepped game plans for every single opponent on the day if they were doing their jobs properly. So I'm not surprising that they are doing
Saying that
draft.
about the team who just admitted they were being lazy in scrims and having a bit of fun and not really doing that much in practice.
True. You don't get that much practice.
You would hope that as lazy as they are, they got one guy in the back who's like, all right,
Sure.
I'm just going to do these picks and bans for 3 teams.
You just wrote Tahm Kench,
all
Tahm
it
Kench, Tahm
takes.
Kench, and ban Ezreal.
Take
It was a
pick
mind
good
game. They were
and
taking
underline it
Ezreal.
3 times.
So the Thresh Gnar picked up. Dyrus will be back on Gnar this game. We'll be going for the fan show. TSM definitely looking to get a win under the belt here. And we will see what Imp and PYL now pull out. GodV choosing, or getting his pick chosen for him. Imp will be able to choose his AD carry here.
Yeah, and so far, again, very standard pick and ban phase on the side of Team Solo mid. They get early Jinx. Santorin gets a Gragas because Elise was obviously picked away. Obviously, as a bit more utility, some scaling up. You have a big front line now with Gnar and a Gragas to protect him. And Bjergsen gets his counter pick as we normally see.
This LGD comp hurts my heart, though. There's so much denial on getting a kill. Like, even if they pick LeBlanc, then you have the mirror image, or the mirror image when she has her passive go off, which kind of denies a bit of ending damage if you were to kill her. Tahm Kench can eat somebody, repel from Elise. It's going to be difficult to finalize a kill here for Team Solo Mid. Let's see what they go for their final pick on the matchup. They're going to go around the board.
Lustboy is
Lustboy
cycling through all the
Always does it.
classic
Always
top
cycles.
lane picks of days gone by. Now he's just trolling.
We're going down memory lane, boys. A little bit of memory lane champion.
Z-Top was a thing for about a few weeks, and then people realized, no, you know what, that was a thing for like at least a few patches. And then TP became a big thing, and Z kind of died out.
Yeah, I was there for a while.
He was.
Yasuo
Was it
also.
Wicked who played Zed a lot top lane?
I don't think so, but no, you know what? I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because Froggen didn't play it in the mid lane, so Wicked took it to the top lane.
Yeah.
I will say, though,
That
from
was
playing
garbage
against
Froggen.
it, it wasn't something teams would ban away very often.
Lissandra.
It's a nice way of saying it.
Lissandra getting picked out
Hey, I'm
here for
stating
Team
the fact.
Solo Mid.
So something that has been pretty critical in team compositions for TSM today
What is that?
is when the opponent gets Mikhails or QSS, TSM runs out of options. Week 1, Bjergsen was doing all the damage and all of the kills for Team Solo Mid, but this week they decided to also make him bring all of the crowd control. he has been the one setting up and trying to carry in these individual fights. Lissandra, kind of a kill one and be done with it type of champion, so we'll see if the rest of TSM can pick up the slack.
It is a good counter matchup into LeBlanc here. Very hard for LeBlanc to do anything, and you can set up so many easy ganks on towards her as well, or at least force her to play very passive. Also, she's bringing cleanse in this situation, so less kill pressure for Godmode.
Force LeBlanc into cleanse. Small victory right there.
I want to see the teams do something crazy again. Put Lissandra back to the bottom, AD carry support middle, push down the middle, make it happen, dictate the game right out the gate. Just light the fuse.
Still on that, it's like, might be Darius' last game. These teams can't make it out of the groups. Why not do something crazy? They don't want to finish last.
All right, yeah, this is true. The champs are now locked in. The teams are loading up. So start sharing your picks for this game. Hashtag LGD win or hashtag TSM win. We'll tally the votes as we go through the game. You'll see them at the bottom on how you are voting and who really has that backing. It's been very back and forth today. A game could start one way and then even out towards the middle. This group has not panned out how we thought today.
No, funny you say that though, Riff, because Team Solo Mid, between 1 minute and 15 minutes, have looked like one of the best teams in this group. After 15 minutes, however, they've looked like one of the worst teams in this group. And despite getting all these early leads, that shot calling in the mid game and forward just seems to drop completely dead. They take down the outer turrets, they have the goal, it looks great, and then nothing happens from there. You don't deny vision, you don't get objectives, you don't push more towers, you don't go aggressive. You had a Malphite earlier, you could just tower dive, you were so far ahead, and it never happened.
I feel like that's very telling on what teams, such as Team Solo Mid, falter in the mid game, need to focus on. Across many games, the first 15 minutes are always somewhat the same. There's almost a gentleman's agreement. You do the same thing over and over again, and then when something breaks that mold, it becomes difficult if you haven't practiced it before.
Yeah, the thing that's so confusing to me about the TSM strategy is it's almost like they're just following this script for the first 15 minutes of how to execute their early game, and then from there they don't know how to shot call. But that's not how the game works. Like, you can't follow a script for the first 15 minutes. It's actually like every individual knows what to do for the first 15 minutes. They can make their own decisions, and then when the game progresses to the next stage, it seems like they lose the ability to work together.
Right. I don't know if this is the case for Team Solo Mid, but some of the teams who do really well in scrims very often only get to play the first 15-20 minutes really serious and get to really play out that early to mid game and practice it again and again and again. And once you get to late game, a lot of teams are like, oh, we're down 5k gold, just surrender, go next game. And you don't get to practice your late game shot calling. It is a problem for a lot of EU teams, I know. And it might be what's hitting Team Solo Mid. They simply don't get enough serious, try-hard late-game practice. So once they get on stage, and they get in the same situations, but the team does not surrender, you now have to try and play it out, and you don't have the tools or the options or
it's almost backwards, but it's the nature of the beast. You want to play more games in a day, so if you know you already won, you stop playing it so you can get another game in, see if you do it differently. But if they never go that long, then the beast becomes a lot harder to fight once it does. So we'll see how this one pans out. We are going to get a standard lane this game. Very back and forth between standard and lane swaps throughout this tournament. Finally, we get to see the matchup.
Just to finish that conversation, and we could drop the topic, it's even if the scrim would be true and they're not finishing many games, that would be true for pretty much any team. So something is still fundamentally wrong with the way TSM is communicating in the mid-game outside of their practice environment. So we'll see if that holds true in this game as well, and if they can actually pull ahead early game where LGD played very well against Origin.
So they can be happy so far getting standard lanes. Again, that double range on the bottom lane is going to be very strong for Team Solo Mid. Tom Kench is a very defensive support in many ways. It's hard for him to be aggressive because you need those 3 stacks. And it's very, very easy to spot when he's running forward, shoots his tongue out, hits you in the back, and then he keeps moving. I mean, you know what's going to happen. So you can play around that very effectively. And also the Vayne obviously just want to farm in the early stages, get that level 6 first at least before LGD is looking to make a lot of plays in this 2v2 lane.
They are just trying to push Imp into the turret over and over again. Quick back coming in from Wild Turtle and Lustboy. See how they manage this. TBQ is going to scuttle bottom side. Does not look like he will be running into Santorin, but this is TBQ's first time on that Elise pick, and it looks like he wants to go pretty aggro already. Yeah,
the only reason you recall that early is if you're initiating a swap. But they've also initiated a swap while Santorin is still in his jungle. So he's got to be really careful of an invade or even TBQ because there's no backup for Santorin.
They do start to head top. TBQ hovering, but on a ward placed just after minion spawn time from Team Solo Mid. So they have eyes on that. Dyrus now will head to the bottom, and we already see movement from PYL here to try and counteract this.
Very surprised Team Solo Mid wants to swap this around. They had a fine 2v2 lane on the bottom side. Gnar does get pushed in early by Darius, but once he goes back one time, yeah, like normally gets a phage, he can then start doing really well in this lane.
Exactly. I felt like TSM had favorable lanes. The only thing they needed to guard against was an Elise turret dive on the top side while Gnar is getting pushed in, but Santorin very easily could have just started jungling that side in his rotation and kept Dyrus safe. But either way, they swap in a disadvantageous spot. They do early recalls in order to swap, so they put themselves in an inherent disadvantage to get this lane set up.
And that means Vayne gets her free lane where she can sit alone, reach level 6 very fast, the first big spike for her, and farm out towards that blade. They might catch up PYL. Keep in mind, he's very tanky on this Tahm Kench.
You have to hit him for a while.
I like
and
the hold
that
on the
gives
flash.
time for backup.
PYL playing this one very nicely with peace of mind. Just lets TSM walk in and keep getting the hits that they want. Teleport is going to be coming in. It does not look like it will play too much of a role here. No, they get the apprehend onto Turtle. Very back and forth, waiting for Team Solo Mid to get that lantern. It does get Turtle to safety. And Glacial Path from Bjergsen gets him to safety as well. I thought those would come a little sooner, but TSM just didn't have the cooldown yet.
So we praised the early game of Team Solo Mid before. If you look at the first few games of the day, now I really just again have to disagree with how they're playing it. Chasing in a Tahm Kench into his own jungle with the amount of HP he has with his E as well, that double HP coming in, and once again you leave Vayne all alone. Wild Turtle left the top lane to join the fight, so he's on 25 CS.
Yeah, and they leave the ward over the wall while the jungle camp is low, so Godby gets a free Raptor taken for him, which means he'll probably hit level 6 before Bjergsen as well.
He did his flash for that too.
A lot of things LGD are doing are better than TSM, but that's because TSM is just kind of making... They're actually taking initiative, but the choices are wrong.
I feel like
for TSM near the game.
LGD is just kind of sitting down on the floor, and TSM is just standing and firing candy down their mouth, being like, here you go, take more, because LGD are not really the ones making the plays. They're just reacting to what Team Solo Mid is doing, and they're handing everything over to them right now.
Deficio, let me tell you, Tahm Kench can eat a lot of candy.
He can eat a lot of candy.
So you're not going to overkill him by dumping candy down his mouth, unfortunately.
That's what they're trying to do for now.
That cleanse still in for Godby, putting some damage down into Bjergsen. He'll control the damage a little bit with the Masanga, but still gets hit out on that one. A level up from Bjergsen means he has 6. He can still put himself in the Glacial Prison if he wants to, but Godby looking to get a kill quite soon here, even without having a kill summoner on himself in the mid lane.
So LGD makes a good play here around the bottom lane where you have him sitting already, pushing in the wave, force Dyrus away, get some damage on this tower, you might even be able to take it down. And then obviously on the top side, TSM has to just mirror and respond, which they are doing for now. So we'll be able to trade towers.
Turtle, Lost Boy, unscathed here in the top lane. The swap has put him down a bit of CS within that lane, however. Imp, as we said, getting his free farm in the bot lane, played a very nice Graves game just recently. Now onto the Vayne, show his skills in the last game that LGD will be playing here on the world stage.
Yeah.
TBQ actually still in the jungle. He seems a lot more comfortable now. After the Gragas game, after the Elise game, taking a lot more chances. Very close for Dyrus, possibly could be going down. He does for first blood. The sixth sense was there that he needed to get out, but there just was not enough room for him to do so.
How many times have we seen this in the short side of a lane swap? He overstays while his turret is dying, and there is really no reason to not be at your second tier turret while the lane is getting bounced like that, because you're really just opening yourself up for disaster without any positives. He wasn't going to be getting anything for being in that spot to begin with, and LGD uses the appropriate summoner spells and gank to kill him.
And some things about Vayne now that we see him get a first assist. He's already level 6. Almost getting Blade of the Ruin King on his first back. He can be more than happy after Team Solo Mid gave him that free lane. Vayne as a champion, one of the reasons I feel we haven't seen it too much right now is because of double teleport. It's very hard for it to be a split pusher because you're not running teleport as an AD carry. The team's gonna wave clear, push the wave out against you, and then just TP away and force a fight, and you're stuck up in that lane. You're fairly slow at pushing the waves. In this game, because Bjergsen didn't run teleport, that's not gonna be a problem, because it's gonna be Gnar versus Darius up in the top lane. And it's now going to be Imp in the bottom lane against a non-teleport user, so you can suddenly use the Vayne properly as a split pusher, and TSM also gave him now that free lane. Really got a question also not running teleport on Lissandra. I think that what makes her strong is that your TP ganks are so effective at level 6, but Bjergsen is aiming to kill his lane.
Godby not getting a lot of chains out. Makes Bjergsen a little bit easier for him to get kills if he wants to. But here on the bot lane, TBQ waiting off on the wing. PLL getting one good lick onto Lustboy. Just a love tap there, and Lustboy actually may go for this ward check here. Looks like he's gonna get too much out of it.
I love watching Tom Kent when he's setting up for a gank. It's like walk through the minions, just hit you once with one of the lowest movement speeds in the game. It's like, yeah, okay, I think the jungler is here. Let's just back away.
It is quite telling. PYL having to give quite a bit away. Lustboy has not been able to get back to lane with Turtle just yet. This may mean his life. Going to ward is going to cost him pretty much everything. He gets eaten up. That's going to be PYL's kill. No. Has enough coming out with the shield. Lives, and they are going to get that one over to TBQ. Turtles Rockets coming up nicely, but I don't think he's going to be living through this one. Another kill going over to LGD, 3-1 now.
And LGD once again playing like they did back in the LPL. When we had a Vayne, they would always try and get her high level in a lane swap and then play around her because she's so strong compared to other AD carries after level 6. What happens? Fight down bottom side because of TPQ. Team Soulmate jumps right into it. LGD wins the fight. More kills for them on the bottom lane.
And TBQ is baiting on Tom Kench the way you're supposed to. Like, when we talk about Tom Kench, and when people are trying to say why he wasn't good before we started seeing him, it's like, all he is he's annoying. You just walk around and not die.
He's very annoying.
Exactly! He's really, really annoying, and TSM is allowing themselves to be annoyed by him, dumping damage, and then capitalizing on the backside of it.
Lustboy having to follow now, playing follow the leader with PYL towards the mid lane. Good save onto Bjergsen, but definitely means that TSM is now on the back foot.
Yeah, because there's a 2-level advantage in the side lane between the AD carries.
Yeah.
Kind of necessitating a 1v2 if Wild Turtle ever wants to farm safely. And as Deficio mentioned earlier, not having teleport on the mid lane, Bjergsen makes it so he can't provide impact. He needs to be able to win his lane if he has Ignite.
Oh, what a nice play. Doesn't get frozen by the W, gets out to take no damage from the Glacial Prison, but cannot get back in for the finalizer. Thought that Godby would have stayed with the cleanse, but he does go for the safe play. Just knows he has the upper hand on Bjergsen now. Imp, PYL doing what they want to this bottom lane, not having any trouble.
The rotations!
And it seems like TSM out lane swap themselves this game here. It's not going to be easy to come back from. LGD to the mid lane.
Moving through this, man. It's a straight line. It's not a rotation right there.
It sounds better.
Translated to
One
the lane.
TT and everything.
Oh, dear.
And that's going to be a dead Santorin.
The trans rotation right there makes it into the mid lane. And they were so far ahead of the play there because of the Tom Kench Santorin face price.
You can make so many plays with the Tom Kench, especially once you start having winning lanes and he can make use of his ulti properly to go tower to tower to tower way earlier, or way before the other team can even react. And he can also try and save his AD carry.
Look at where Imp can play right now.
Even spits forward.
Absolutely disgusting. Spits him into the box. He might just end up in one, but the tumble gets him to safety. A little hairy there for a second, but he gets out with Summoner Heal. Imp is laughing.
He is cracking up for that one. Thanks a lot, PYL.
Yeah, we started good and the bad about a Tom Kench. Man, that was nice. We've also seen a Tom Kench send his AD carry into the middle of the enemy team as an engage. Happened with the Coup Tigers. I like it. I like how he supports trolling the AD carry a little bit.
Imp, you have 2 kills. But can you get out of this one? Throws him right in.
It's too bad you can't chew up Kog'Maw when he's in his passive and spit that at you.
That would be fun.
That would be pretty broken. 13 minutes
Speed him up
in.
even more.
Speed up the Acathian surprise.
Or just have him inside you while he's exploding and he still does the damage to other people.
Yeah,
Tom
Kench has to
gray
take
health.
damage at that point.
It just gives him more gray health.
You could explode in Abyssal Voyage and it's just like an underground mine. All right, moving on. Wards to the mid lane, not really allowing anything to happen here. Pure vision for TSM. They know Godby roamed up. Nobody's going to go crazy and walk into any Fog of War in the jungle. But that is exactly where LGD is coming from right now. TSM is going to be forced to run down here. As PYL, his presence is dictating everything right now. If he's in an area, TSM is not.
There's no TP for Flame right now, so TSM might be able to win this
down
fight.
Towards red. They were just seeing where he could go. The Abyssal Voyage takes him down a bit. We're going to head up. That's TBQ falling down as Godby gets himself out with the passive. That's a bit of the denial I was talking about. Once you're about to finalize that kill, you may not be able to get it. PYL hoping or wishing he was close enough to Imp that time to chew him up, but it's not going to happen. And TSM get LGD as they're trying to do a little too much.
Yeah, that was an Abyssal Voyage gone wrong right there, because LGD just got a little too aggressive, a little too casual, a little too jokey, and TSM capitalizes with some nice plays.
Flame was just sitting top with no teleport, kind of being like, guys, I have no TP. And PYL was like, I'm going to fight. I'm going to go for this one. He jumps straight into in his own jungle.
It's like there's a fight down there, and then you just hear elevator music when we see Flame on the top side.
Oh, man. And it was a really spread out fight.
Yeah.
Too.
Whoa! I kind of saw that coming. Not sure how Turtle did. Still had to use the summoner heal, but the Lust Boy was just behind him. I would have lanterned out. Godby really taking advantage of the situation. Team Solo Mid not respecting the area of aggro that LGD can work with here.
Godby's been doing really well in his lane. Always
he really has.
Aggressive on Bjergsen. Let's see it again. So Flame sitting top, really does not want to fight, but TBQ gets caught out at first. Ends up going down, and Godby tries to do what he can, not enough. And he is randomly a catfish and Imp.
It's like, I saved him.
They just attempt to 2v3. Maybe they were trying to set up a play with the Elise, but then the Elise got cut off. Not much they could do to win that one.
Oof.
To be fair, I don't think a catfish is very smart. So I don't blame him.
That's why they bite on to people's arms while they're fishing and get caught.
There's no way out. It's all in.
I don't know. What if they're hungry?
It's an arm attached to it.
Well, they just know it's an arm. They don't know what a human is. They just see some meat in front of it.
It's an example of how they're not intelligent.
That's true.
Okay. All right. They haven't figured out yet. Well, I guess you can't go back and tell the other catfish you made an arm because you're done at that point. Damn. It's a rough life.
It's dark.
Looks like PYL has chosen the right targets, however, throughout this game. He's been doing good.
Well, except he just killed himself just before. But apart from that,
it happens.
It happens, sure.
Some have to sacrifice for the other catfish as well.
For those of you who weren't listening yesterday, it's called noodling.
Noodling.
When you
indeed
fish for catfish using your arm.
I think we've pretty much hit that in almost every game today. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive, I'm not going to lie. 17, coming up on 17 minutes, I should say. Godby doing very nicely for himself at 1-0-1, but he is tied with Bjergsen right now. We thought this would be a pretty close game, and it really hasn't gotten out of control, but LGD is definitely making all the moves, dictating these fights. Here, another one to the bot lane, and it is just spread to both sides. Turtle on the pot, Lust Boy on the top side. Both of them go down. A little bit of flare love.
Yeah, while Turtle's a sitting duck in this game, I feel like he's going to have many deaths because Godby's getting enough kills on LeBlanc that he's going to start taking over. We already saw Maple take over this one, and him pops ult to 1v1.
Ah! Huzzah! He wanted it, but not.
That was a boring 1v1.
Well, he saw the Narbar go up real quick. He's like, actually, never mind. Just get thrown into a wall real quick and slowed over and over again. TBQ, no real danger, cleans up Scuttle and just continues to give LGD more ways to get themselves in and out of fights. Actually pretty effective. You Abyssal Voyage past everybody. You have a team that can come through river on a Scuttle Crab. More of a translation.
Sit in mid lane.
It's an Abyssal Voyage.
Jump down to the bottom lane with 2 guys. That's insane. Zoning out people. LGD can do 1-3-1. They have Imp on top side. We mentioned earlier no teleport to really punish him other than the Gnar. But he doesn't care about that. He can kill him 1v1. He probably could even have killed him before, but played it very safe. Ended up condemning him away.
Still 2-level difference here for Imp onto Wild Turtle. No Dragon Steals for him this game.
Not yet.
Things that allow TSM back in, not happening. And usually they're the crazy highlight moments. That's not what you want to have to just use to get back into games because they're very few between. Right now, there has not been much choice. Glacial path to the backside. Bjergsen actually put himself in a nice spot for safety, but LGD still wants this fight. TSM is grouped up nicely if they can find the right targets, but now that they have split all into different channels of their own jungle, they continue to get picked off. Now Godmode is going to be able to rejoin. I hope TSM still remembering that one. Somebody's going to get chomped up. That's Darius thrown back out to slow the team. No, Flame comes back so they can get a nice engage, not throwing anybody too far forward. Godmode looking for one more kill onto Lustboy here. That's the distortion forward. Sigil into chain. TBQ is actually going to help pick that one up. Bjergsen now completely low on mana. He's going to be going down, and they are indeed farming. You have to worry about the small families and kids. They still need food no matter what is happening to the village, and that's not what you want to have happen.
Is Bjergsen the village dying?
I really liked his defensive use of his ultimate during that fight. He got a lot of damage off, used it for the self-heal, and I feel like nearly won the fight for TSM. But ultimately, Godmode has been able to zero out Wild Turtle in so many of these fights. There's nothing to save him there, no flay help, no hook help, no shield, lantern help from Lustboy, and he's just getting picked off again and again.
And it seems like Im doesn't really trust PWell anymore because they're very split up in the fight, and normally PWell will be here to save him, but you can see how all of Team Solo Mid is going to go for him now first to buy some time. Im is so far away from him as he could possibly be, and Wild Turtle just before going down gets the fire ulti as well, help killing him. So looks good in the start, but then they just keep chasing. PWell keeps being annoying.
Yeah, when he ate Flame's Darius, it's one of the big things that turned the fight around. TSM just didn't end up having enough sustained damage because Wild Turtle didn't do any damage at the start of that fight.
Frustration of the denial starts to come in. It's like blue buff will go down here. PYL actually taking quite a bit. He has to use E right away, create that shield that's already taken down, so he could be killed here. TSM does not look like they can even get past him, though. Everything's used to just get PYL low, and LGD assesses the rest of the fight. Darius actually coming in, Meganars him against the wall. TSM will be able to start cleaning this one up. Imp in a bad spot. He finally gets cleaned up by Wild Turtle, and Turtle's double kill, hopefully getting him excited for a triple kill here. Exactly what Team Solo Mid needs. The quadra kill. The right target is the one that distorts, obviously, so they know where to go, but TSM wins a fight like this, and they aren't getting anything else on the map. We'll see LGD probably back up. This is TSM clawing themselves back in.
Delayed quadra kill, they're right back in the game. PYL, while it's nice to take a bunch of damage on Tahm Kench, your team has to be capitalizing on the damage you take right there. And they funnel into such a small choke point against Gnar, Jinx, Lissandra, and definitely pay the price.
21 minutes, the second dragon goes over to Team Solo Mid, a team that sometimes you would see allow those dragons to go to the wayside for what they're doing around the map, but here it's been falling in their favor, working for them.
So LGD not really going to split push at all right now, just going to team fights against Team Solo Mid, and while it looks pretty good at first, Centurion does survive. Now it's the problem, you've invested everything onto the tank. Massive Meganar from Darius, very well done from him, and Bjergsen gets into the backline again. Im is just dancing around behind the enemy.
Yeah, I mean, LGD has kind of a split-pushing team, but with the lead, they just decided it was time to team fight again and again. And Lissandra, Jinx, Gnar, with Gragas and Thresh, is a massive team fight composition, so it's the big reason TSM is back in this game now.
Im trying to dance around Wild Turtle all the time, but just gets shot in the face. Not working for him. I think he needs to stay with PYL. Because you need the Tahm Kench to eat the Vayne. When Team Solo Mid is trying to kill him in the backline, you eat him, you avoid all this damage, because like Lissandra is a champion that relies so much on being able to ulti, like the upfront burst.
Yeah.
That's what you deny with the Tahm Kench. But Im is just constantly, for some reason, behind Team Solo Mid.
I think we'll see it over and over again. There's no shortage of fights coming. Blade of the Ruin King into Quicksilver Sash, rushed Aegis for both TBQ and PYL. They want to keep fighting here. And Imp's just giving him a way to stay safe in these fights if he gets close to Bjergsen or gets a hook from Lustboy. So they are building to keep the fire going. TSM is actually starting to put it out right now, getting themselves back in, now only down by about 1,000 gold as we move up to 11 to 10 in kills. Yeah, bloodier than usual game, though.
Turtle is very fed on this Jinx, and maybe it's what they need. Maybe now they don't have to make a lot of calls because the fights are coming to them on the side of Team Solo Mid, and they can take these straight on 5-on-5 team fights where Turtle just sits and shoots away.
Yeah, they need to be able to have a good amount of vision control beforehand, because even though he has 9,200 gold at this point in the game, Godmode will still be able to nearly zero him out with a good combo on the block. Especially if he's unable to sidestep those chains that Godby has landed so accurately on a wild turret.
LGD is still looking to have Flame in the same lane as Dyrus down here with the teleport. And just let him take the other lane. Whoever walks up there to 1v1 him, he can kill them. Or he can at least push in the wave and then leave. And LGD can force a play around the mid lane or in the jungle if they catch out Team Solo Mid. Right now, they're just gone straight into 5-on-5 team fights, which is what Team Solo Mid wants.
Yeah, Team Solo Mid's main weakness so far at Worlds has been their inability to make calls around 15 minutes, while LGD's making them for Team Solo Mid.
So at first, it was Team Solo Mid giving it to LGD in the start, being like,
now
okay,
it's the other way.
We're going to give some calls, here's some kills, and now we just turn around, we return all the candy.
You love the candy.
I don't know why.
I mean, a lot of people do. A lot of people do.
He was baiting quite a lot.
It's not really a bait, that's just death.
Pretty damn good candy in France. Apparently, they just gave a little too much to PYL. Sometimes it'll make you sick.
Jab said you could do that.
So in order to bait, there has to be a trap somewhere else. They were just throwing food into the sea at that point.
The catfish walking.
Too many never-ending gobstoppers.
Oh, didn't kill him.
Whoa, Godfrey blasted away. Bjergsen didn't get the hit he want because of that chaos due to the explosive cask, and now Bjergsen puts himself in a not-so-good position. Lustboy's where he does not want to be right now, and there's the other back and forth now from Team Solo Mid over to the side of LGD.
It was
give it right back.
It was the long bait.
He knew it all along.
Long
That's
bait.
shot calling right there.
Yeah, big mistake there by Team Solo Mid going so deep there. In a 5v4 with all of their ultimates, they lose 2 for 0. Godby got the large amount of damage early on in that fight and allowed him to get into the flank without real threat onto them. And maybe LGD actually takes the Baron for this one.
Santorin smite up. He is on the top side. My eyes are on how close he can get. Baron going down fast. Dyrus not going to be able to gnaw out here. No, he does gnaw out. That's the bar going down. Almost gets himself into a good spot, but they did not do enough. Santorin, body slam over the wall, cannot get it. It's actually taken with early smites from both junglers. Santorin didn't even. Imp gets a shot on that one, and it is going to be the Vayne take for the Baron.
UIL saved the day, finally flashed over, put Imp into his belly, he stays alive, spit him over the wall.
Plays the long Kong. Make him think that he's not going to save Imp, so that they will commit to killing Imp, just so PYL can consume him yet again. Yeah, this game's gotten a little bit messy, I would say.
Just a little bit. A lot of good fights. A lot of good fights. Not sure what happened with their last one where Team Solo Mid went over the wall. Didn't get the kills.
What happens when you noodle a catfish and you let it back out of the boat? It just wreaks absolute havoc. It knows then. This is the one that made it out.
Sees the true weakness.
Yeah, PY. He knows where the armor is broken.
Yeah. So there were already a dead Lissandra and Thresh for this one, so it's a really safe Baron for LGD as long as they zone out the Gragas. And here, they actually all flash over to kill the Narwhal, and really they should have been flashing over to kill Santorin because the steal is a very real possibility. Let's see what ends up happening. Yeah, TBQ smited right before he was going to eat it with Elise, so it was actually a Vayne auto attack that ended up finishing it because the smite did about 700 and it left with sub 100 health. Santorin just didn't get it in time to do any damage.
I feel like Flame is not allowed to do anything in this game. Godby even steals away the Grump from him. 1 kill, 3 assists, every single team fight. Flame is kind of just running behind his team, trying to get in there, but never really doing anything.
It's like, you had a good game the other time.
Yeah, now it's our turn.
It's my turn.
Well, it's one of these things with Darius. Like, if you want Darius to be successful, you normally have to kind of build around him. But this is really an every man for himself team composition. And Elise, Vayne, and LeBlanc have all these cool tools to get closer to people, whereas Flame has absolutely no way to do so unless he wants to extend Flash. So everyone else gets to do stuff in these fights, and Flame's just kind of left in the dust.
So we need Tahm Kench to deliver Flame to the backline.
That would be the way to help him.
Oh, man.
First dragon in the game, bro.
Good call.
You think so?
I mean, it's 27 minutes. It's kind of lazy getting a dragon now. You can't really get 5.
Oh, you can get 5.
I mean, okay, sure. If we're here for like another hour, you're going to get 5.
You're making these statements.
Give him 24 more minutes. And it's a 51-minute 5th dragon to Fishio.
Can happen. TSM, like I said, they've given up a few before. I don't know if it's going to go that long. Back towards LGD inside TSM's jungle. This is pretty much where they've lived. Not really paying too much rent either. They come up with their own kills when they're here. TSM has only been able to scrap together a few. Banner of Command now being used by Lustboy. This is in the bottom lane. middle lane. Where is it? Looks like it's already dead. It is just on cooldown, so they won't be able to use that to split push really any lanes just yet. Trying to keep LGD on the back foot. It's not working though.
That's down the bottom lane. A big cannon.
Oh, it came in the second one. Yeah.
Moving in, so
I scrolled past it too fast.
massive wave incoming. LG don't care. They just want to dive your tower. Not the members, but the tower.
Yeah. I was going to say, what happened to the Baron buff there, but it must have timed out during all of this. LGD not taking huge advantage off of that Baron secure. And they still actually don't have a super strong team fight unless they get a clean initiation on a Wild Turtle, who's built a Spectral's Cow. Despite the advantages they've again accumulated, it's also a lot of free damage that Godby took.
Just trying to spread TSM very thin right now. Looks like it's working. Dyrus does have that teleport up, so he's trying to get himself into a spot in mid lane at least. He'll be able to walk up towards that top turret. But it exactly is where LGD is taking TSM right now. With bot lane pushed, they may have to respect that and come back to clear it. Flame now down to the bottom lane. Take a little bit of time. So now LG gets to take a breather here, see what TSM can set up.
Yeah, LGD not exactly running a good siege composition. Have to split push or catch someone out. Decent enough Baron power play, despite us barely noticing anything.
It's above average, actually. So the Baron power play, if people aren't familiar, is the gold from the Baron as well as the 3-minute duration of the buff. So in like the ensuing fight right after they got the Baron, for instance, when they killed Santorin and they killed Dyrus, that gold counts towards the Baron power play because it's still part of the Baron. Probably the reason.
And now that you have seen it, that turret doesn't count. So stops right after that, after it wears off. I forget who's had the highest one. Last game we only saw about
we've seen like
1,500.
7K.
I think 6-7K has been
really far up. I mean, obviously, if there's a lot of, if you take the Baron and win the fight right after, you obviously walk in and take 2 or 3 towers as well, because everyone is dead for such a long time. Often, once Baron has been taken, you get these massive power plays. Sadly, if you move in and finish the game, you get a terrible Baron power play. So the trick is to never finish the game with Baron if you want to top the rank.
We haven't even posted the rankings anywhere.
In my head, I got the rankings.
Officio's internal power play rankings.
Number 1 right now, I believe, is HQ of Flash Wolves.
You don't even know who's number 1.
I know, I'm just saying. I'm literally just talking out of my ass right now. I'm not
it's in my brain,
anything.
I promise.
Hey, I just got confirmed. Flash Wolves have the highest one.
Boom.
That was Spellsy's ranking, not Officio's rankings.
But it was in my head.
Flash Wolves, how much was it?
There.
6,000?
It was, wait.
565 off the top of my head.
Spellsy, how much?
6,500.
Give me the top.
Yeah, 6,500.
Boom. There you go. Speed stats.
How far we've come.
And we get to thank all the awesome people behind the scenes like Spellsy for great nuggets like that.
Except he didn't give me the number, he gave it to Jad.
Yeah.
This is my ranking.
It's not your ranking then.
Well, I was right.
Also, multiple stats people. Spellsy, Optimus Tom, Yutwin, Clark Smith, Kyle Horn, a lot of people contributing to this.
They help make everything sound so pretty while these teams hopefully make it look pretty. Pretty gruesome right now for Team Solo Mid. LGD coming in from the side. They will be able to get out of this one. Team Solo Mid was grouped up way too nicely in a death ball, and it looked like they would have come out on top. Imp seems like he's a little too far from the crowd, but the cleanse is going to help him. PYL ready to chop him up if anything goes too bad, and that's going to be Turtle down immediately. I didn't even see its health bar turn red. Flame going in. That's going to be actually 3 kills. No, 2 kills for both Vayne and for Imp. And Vayne and Imp, for Godby and Imp, I should say. Bjergsen waiting around. Makes himself gold, but it doesn't make him king. He goes down as well, and that's the ace on Team Solo Mid.
I think Santorin just delivered Godby to Wild Turtle. He shot him back, and he just instantly one-shot him. And Flame got to play some League of Legends.
Flame must have been so happy he used his flash, and he actually got to play in a team fight. He got double resets off of his ultimate. He's level 16, so it's a full reset. He can use it if he fights again. Massive team fight win there for LGD.
Getting the dunks that he needs. The team takes the inhibitor, gets out, and I'm sure they feel so good about these fights. They're going to keep continuing them. The builds have shown that they will do so, and so has the play that they've been putting forth. 7-3-5 for Imp, 6-1 and 9 for Godby. These, I'm sure they were wishing that this came out in the first week.
Yes. Would probably been a very different game. Both teams definitely ready.
Absolutely.
to just fight it out, see what happens. We're going to get a Baron start.
Desperation Baron because there's
showing the
recalls on
mechanics.
LGD's side.
Sometimes you gotta go for broke, boys.
In time.
Look at Tom Kench ulti right here.
That Abyssal Voyage.
VP, Dyrus is coming in. He's actually got a pretty nice Narbar on this one. This could pay off for Team Solo Mid. Lustboy taking a bit too much. They gotta focus on the peel for the backline. Godby over the wall. Wild Turtle completely almost zeroed out. Completely almost. He'll get there eventually. There it goes. He goes down. 2 kills for Imp already. Oh my word. Lustboy with the hook save. Oh, he puts down the Dark Passage himself. Brings it to the light, but he still gets the sigil down. Godby takes him out. And these fights go coast to coast each time. Imp taking a drink. He's going to go for the inhibitor turret.
He really wants to show that logo again.
Oh, Imp completely wrecked Bjergsen in that fight. Bjergsen came over the wall on Lissandra and was instantly condemned into the wall, and the stun lasted long enough that Bjergsen could never use his ultimate on himself and just died before casting any damaging spells.
It looks so good when TSM's coming in. We heard recently Dyrus saying, you know, we're all working together now. It's like we're all body parts of the head, the feet, and the arms, and we come together and we work together. But LGD has taken that arm and they're saying, why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself right now? And TSM just cannot do anything.
Yeah, well, they Desperation Baron. They didn't even have Bjergsen right here. Flame is the first in the fight was exactly what LGD wanted.
And look, PYL helping him, deliver him to Bjergsen. Get to deal some damage, he dies. Godby really get to show some mechanics in this game here. Dancing in and out.
Yeah, he does.
Killing Team Solo Mid left and right. PYL, obviously, the MVP, because he plays Tom Kench.
Well, also, you look at the kill participation, 17 assists. TBQ is actually the true MVP of this. 18
No, you're only at 13
kills or
assists.
assists.
That's not enough. 17 is more.
5 kills, dude.
Don't care about kills, don't want assist. I used to play support. Assist is all that matters.
All right, counts the same.
PYL confirmed
I'm sure
MVP.
Edward would feel different.
Sure.
Bloodthirsty supports around the world are very sad right now.
Oh man, Dyrus plaqued up on the wall by the Condemn, gets taken down by Imp. Flame and PYL coming over on the Abyssal Voyage. It looks so great as they come up. And they are now inside Team Solo mid space, looking to put the final nail in the coffin here. Dyrus will not be able to help with 30 seconds left on his timer. Looks like LGD may go around the horn here. They could have another inhibitor to drop if they're able to get this turn.
You know, this
will be.
Third inhibitor, Dyrus still dead. I feel like LGD has all the ability to end the game right here if they want to.
Looks like they may stick it. They have a nice minion wave coming in on the bot side. LGD looking to take down Team Solo Mid for the final game of Group D and take that third position. And Wild Turtle taken down on the fountain. Condemn, oh, the laser! It doesn't kill him, but it is going to be Bjergsen flashing forward for one more valiant kill. He will go down in this instance. No, Santorin throws himself as a wall of meat in front to save his mid laner, but the Nexus turrets are going down. There's nothing that Team Solo Mid can do about that. Eyes of the minions and LGD on the Nexus. Slowly, they're more focusing on the fountain right now. 36 minutes in, LGD was able to rout Team Solo Mid in their composition, find their way to the Nexus, and take down TSM.
Let's say as a fitting way as any to end the group, unfortunately, for LGD and TSM. LGD finishes at 2-4, whereas TSM's lone victory will come last week against LGD, and they will finish last place at 1-5.
Obviously, both teams having a bit of fun in the last game. We got some good fights. Got to see Godby on LeBlanc dancing around him for some reason, trying to assassinate the backline a few times as well. Overall, though, a very fun game to watch.
Yeah, 29 kills for LGD. Maybe the highest
18
number of
assists
kills someone has so
for
far
PYL.
in the game.
18 assists.
High number of assists. Highest support, I would say. He had a lot of assists in the Jana game as well. So racked up some pretty big numbers in the last 2 games. And there's the applause for Dyrus. Very emotional moment for him.
Absolutely emotional.
Got to be difficult having his final game end in defeat.
And there's hope. You know, you got to put hope out there for the Dyrus fans that in this moment, a lot of players will step back, find something else for drive, and actually step back onto the Rift.
Sure.
It's been a very, very long career for Dyrus, and maybe that's not his choice, but there is always that option for players.
Yeah, there's been the talk about him stepping down for maybe a year or so and be a sub for the team, stay,
Absolutely.
of course, in the house, and then he can always come back if he wants to. But for now, he has made it very clear that he has been burned out. I mean, he's been playing League of Legends for so many years, so much practice coming in. He was one of the big stars all the way back in Season 2. Season 1 even made it to Worlds.
That he did. So KT Rolster,